What's up, guys? You know who it is. It's your boy Kenny with JDM Muscle, and we're back. I have another mod for my supercharged S2000. Today I'm actually going to be hooking up my Radium fuel surge tank. I've got the instructions right here. I did actually purchase mine used off of somebody for about 500 bucks, so not a bad price at all. So, like I said, I've actually got the instructions here. Looks like 34 steps. I do know one of the steps in here, I do need to actually put my soft top up. It does say to actually have it open halfway up and jam a basketball in the back to kind of open up that space. I do know that doing this install with a roll bar is a little bit tougher, so we should see how that goes. Otherwise, let's get started. And like I said, I'm actually just going to follow through the instructions. I'll show you guys as I go along, but for the most part, sounds like something we can just follow the instructions. So let's get started. All right, guys, so the car is running. What I'm going to do next is actually, let me grab the camera. We need to jump inside and put the soft top halfway up. At least that's what the instructions say, which will be the easiest to have access to the rear fuel pump. Like I said, the roll bar is going to make it a little tougher for me. Sorry, the car is a little loud. So let's try to get it up to where the instructions showed. Probably the easiest. And it looks like about right here is going to be, actually it looks like I can go all the way. So I went all the way with mine. Should be the easiest. Just because this bar, I want to try to clear it as much as I can. Still think it's going to be a hell of a time, but alright, sweet. Let's go to the next step. Alright guys, so the next step actually says to get up underneath the dash. My car is already pretty gutted out, so it's easy for me. Once you get up by this kickboard, I just had to pull the plastic off. Right here. And then the directions show I need to pull fuse number 2, which for me is going to be the blue 15. I'm going to pull that. Sorry the lighting's not the best, but I'm going to pull that. And then I'm going to try to put my plastic back on as quick as I can, just because I don't want my ECU right here to fall, just because it's mounted up to the side. But as soon as you pull this 15, actually fire up the car, let the car stall out to pull all fuel, and then put it back in. And like I said, I'll put everything back together, but we do need to pull the fuel out of the system, so that's what I'm going to do right now. Alright guys, so after we have done all of that, we're going to disconnect the battery. Like I said, I've got my soft top halfway up. Now we're going to come to the trunk. Now, my trunk is gutted, as you can see, but if you do have all plastic and cloth and interior still, please remove everything on the left side, so everything near the fuel. So once that's all pulled out, what we're going to do is actually come over. Directions said to open up the gas cap, remove gas cap, and actually remove these 3 8mm bolts. So that's what I'm going to do next. After that, we're actually going to be coming back into here, and we're going to unhook this, and then we're going to slowly start working on this. All right guys, the next step is to remove this 10mm bolt right here. Now it does say in the directions that you should just be able to pull this filler neck out after you pull up this rubber. I think that, you know, after 19 years, my rubber hose going into the fuel tank is a little stiff. So with the car being fully gutted, I think if I follow the directions, I don't actually need to move my filler necks. I think I can actually leave it where it's at, and I can go to the next steps, which, if that's true, after I remove that, now I can go on to removing what says a few mounted floorboard bolts where the bracket for the surge tank is actually going to sit. Mine are already, I believe, removed, so the good thing about that is I should be able to get right in here, and I'm going to be able to put that bracket right in there, I think, as long as it clears my roll bar. Alright guys, so I was wrong. I did actually have to move the whole fuel funnel itself out of the way, because you do need to get underneath it a little bit. Now I know it's super hard to see in here, but trying to mount the mount, I did run into some huge issues. I'll get in the car and show you where. Due to my hard dog roll bar, there's different models. Mine is actually getting in the way of where the stock location for this mount is supposed to mount. So I'm going to get in and show you where mine is different. Alright guys, I'm crammed in the back. My harness and everything is in the way. This is the roll bar, as you can see though. So the stock holes, now this kit does say you're not supposed to have to drill any holes. You can use all OEM. This is where this hole and this hole is where it's supposed to mount the back part of the bracket. With this roll bar, my kit is not going to work. So what I'm having to do is build a bracket, use the bolt from my roll bar, and I'm having to make a bracket to fit onto right here. So I'm going to make an extension bracket. So my kit's actually going to be sitting back about 4 inches. The troubling part also is that on the earlier year S2000s, the instructions actually say for the front mount, there isn't a pre-existing bolt hole. So I'm going to have to drill a hole, and I think I'm going to use maybe a locking bolt or something along those lines to just lock it in. So I'll show you the harness itself and kind of explain. But like I said, the 2 pre-existing holes are not lining up, so I'm going to use this one, and I'm making another bracket to fit it. All right, guys, so I did end up having to cut the bracket. I thought making the little bracket attachment down here was going to work, but it did not. So I actually cut the whole front off, and I had to drill a new hole, but it should bolt right up now. I've already measured it, so I'm gonna try to get everything into the car. All right, guys, I know the view is horrible in here. It's so freaking dim. Next step is actually removing all 3 screws, and then we can actually take this off. Try to be careful with it. This is gonna give us access to the fuel pump part. We are gonna have to pull off the hoses. I'm actually gonna do that off camera. I just don't want to, there isn't enough room to set up the camera and put myself over the roll bar and take all of those off safely without messing anything up. So that's what I'm going to do next. All right, guys, now that we have those disconnected, what we're gonna do next is grab the 2 smaller hoses that came with the kit, and we're going to route them both in through the rubber that we had pulled. Route them both through, that's the 2 smaller ones. Connect them to the line that goes into the fuel tank, and the other line on the earlier models is actually for the fuel rail. So connect those 2 smaller ones, let them hang out here. Next, I am going to mount the surge tank into the car, and we're going to connect to the first 2, and I'll show you how we do that. All right, guys, got all 4 hoses ran. Have the surge tank installed. I know, horrible view, but all 4 ran, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna finish tightening everything down. The bracket, everything's snug, fitting. So all 4 are tightened down. I've tightened these all down. Now let's go to the next step. All right, guys, as you can see, the surge tank is hooked up. All 4 fuel lines plus the wiring. I did already set up the wiring here. I need to do the ground. I already ran it up through the car. I already spliced it into the fuel pump relay. Like I said, I wired it up through the car. I need to lay it in the door still, coming up, and I just need to hook it up and cycle the fuel pump, and we'll be all set. All right, guys, so there, boom, officially done. I've got the battery charger just trickling onto the battery. Otherwise, power, grounds, everything's ran. The next step does say to cycle the fuel pump 3-4 times without the fuse in there. After that, I'm going to pop the fuse back in and actually fire the car. Directions say it's going to run rough first couple minutes, possibly just to air in the line. So after that, I am going to make sure that there's no leaks, nothing like that. I'll recheck everything, hide all the wires, and that's it. All right, guys, now that everything's done, let's see if the car will start. I can hear the surge tank full of gas. All right, we're fired up. Let's go check in the trunk and see how it is. All right, guys, I don't see any leaks. I smell that E85, but there it is, all installed. Ground wires all ran. All right, guys, so I'm taking it for a drive. So far, everything is good. Cycling and running, everything like it should be. I'm not gonna go too fast because it's just, the car drowns everything out. If somebody's gonna ask noise-wise, there was a slight humming, but that's expected. I did get the 450 pump with this one. So for the next videos, if you have any questions, please ask. I'll always write down back, so, you know, put a comment and I'll try to answer transfer back as quickly as I can. Otherwise, thank you guys. Next is getting brand new rubber, and then I'll be back out to Gingerman Raceway, South Haven, Michigan. So hopefully I see you guys there. Thank you.